All right, so there's just been a recent update with Sony and PlayStation with their DRM update. As a game developer and a gamer myself, this is worrying. I read a couple of articles that it's like, hey, this is an unintentional issue. We're gonna roll it back. We're gonna fix it. Don't worry about it. For the general public, don't worry about it, right? Well, me and those who aren't really in the general public, who are really more into games and preserving games and, collecting games, especially physical media, this is terrifying. And I think it really should be terrifying for everybody as a whole and not just gamers. So, a DRM, this is supposed to do a check in every so often, connecting you to the Wi Fi and making sure that your license is valid. That's not an unusual thing. If you log in a certain stuff, if you haven't logged in for a while, it'll automatically log you out for safety reasons. That's not new. But the issue and the fear started coming in where if you didn't sign in for 30 days, it will register that game that you can't play it anymore. Or you have to renew the license, or you have to do something with it, right? This was just kind of on a tweet called by Pirate Nation. I got sent it a couple times and I was like, whoa, okay, this is something crazy. And I know that this is an issue for a lot of people because if you are a collector or a vintage collector or just any sort of physical media collector in anything, but we're going to focus on video games, the price and the demand for these items has skyrocketed. Right now, I just went to eBay and I was like, okay, let me do some really vintage, some really collectible worthy stuff that people really have been buying and like looking for. One of the biggest things that I've been hearing recently is a Nintendo 64. I am very lucky that I still have mine when I was a child, and I took very good care of it. It still works to this day. I have it up hooked up in my room. I can go play it, right? Not everybody has that, luck where they kept it as a child or maybe didn't break or something like that, right? If you go on eBay, the prices vary. And the issue is because it's eBay and it's vintage, unless there's a video on it or unless they have really good reviews, you don't know if that's going to work. Like, it's frustrating because things like GameStop, who is absolutely bombing right now. Like go to your nearest GameStop, get some stuff before the closing. GameStops near me have completely shut down. They didn't announce anything. They just said, "Okay, pull the sign off on the wall. Nobody's there anymore." It's like, "Whoa, this has been here since like for like 15 years. What the hell?" Like physical like vintage things like once they started getting out of the market like in a public setting like GameStop, EB Games, what was some other ones? There was another one similar to that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but like things like that, it's just like it's so difficult to find now because during that time when they were around, that was such a niche thing that people really weren't as adamant on collecting vintage consoles, vintage games. Yeah, GameStop went back on they're selling older media, but now it's all online. You want to buy a 64 thing or a controller or this or that online, everything's online. And it gets to the point where it's just like, oh my God, I just want to pick it up in person and go. The only real place I can think of is those specialty shops that are mom and pop owned. They're not like a big branch or a big company, it's locally owned. They were collectors, they're selling their stuff, or if you go to gaming anime conventions. And the things with the gaming anime conventions, they are going to be a bit more expensive, but not always. It really depends the console, the quality, all those things about it. Those people, that is their job is to sell it, so they have to make a profit. And I don't shame them for that at all. But if you are not looking to spend a lot of money, you kind of there's not a lot of options right now. And I know there's some other sites. What is it that just started coming up, like Whatnot and things like that? But again, it's just like all you have is pictures and then the word and then the reviews. But we're gonna go back to eBay and some other places, right? I'm looking at his N64 with a bunch of controllers. I'm seeing The lowest I'm seeing is $70, and it can jump up to like almost $300. That's a relatively new console price, around the $300, or at least like a refurbished one. And if you go to PlayStation, I want to get a PlayStation 1, right? The lowest I'm seeing, and again, it says it's tested and everything, and I see good positive reviews, is like $70 after shipping. That's not bad. But that's one controller and no games. $70, right? And some games, and I was like curious, I went to go look up online, like what are the best PlayStation 1 games? Let's look it up. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. That is almost $300. Like, what? And the cheapest one I'm seeing is, let's see, like $110. And then sometimes the shipping for some of these things will be like, oh, it's $50. You look at the shipping, it's $70 or some crazy crap, depending what the item is. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Okay, let me look up an N64 game, a Zelda game. Same thing, $30 to like almost $200, depending the edition. If it's the gold edition, if it's the 1.1 version with Ganondorf's blood and the chanting in the fire temple, that I don't even think people are selling it. So it's crazy. And it's just like, oh my goodness, like, and then how do you know if it's like an actual working console? Like, you have to look at the reviews, and the part is stressful because I've done it before, and I've seen some other people play, like where they buy vintage games and then it just craps out. And it might not even be the seller's fault. It could just be the age and the shipping and handling, and it's stressful. Like, look at all the things that I listed off and all the cons about collecting vintage stuff right now compared to just digital. It's right there. You don't have to leave your house. Only recently they started doing taxes on it, which is, I think that's illegal in some states, but we're not going to discuss that today. But you have it there. Oh, my PlayStation broke. Let me go get a new one. It's on the cloud. You're good. You're fine. But this concern of like non-physical media stuff has always been my fear. For the longest time, I only bought physical media as best as I could. And then at some points, it's just like, yeah, it's only digital exclusive. It's like, what? Like, what if I don't have Wi-Fi on, right? Like, and so many of these games and stuff, like Sony's pretty good about it. I haven't had an Xbox for a while, but it's like all these games, like if you want to play it online, like my favorite fucking game ever, Destiny, right? You can't play that game unless you're connected to the internet. There's no way, there's no offline mode for it. And it's like, dude, I'm hating this dependency on Wi-Fi and internet access and all this stuff, because there's a lot of people, yeah, it's 2026, but there's a lot of people who don't have steady internet connection. Like, there's some people that I know back in college that wasn't that long ago. They're like, yeah, I only get Wi-Fi when I'm in school or in the library. That's it, it's not a necessity for people. It is a luxury. And companies know this, and they're pushing on this shit even more. And then now there's even more of a demand for physical media. That's going to be a whole nother video for physical media. But, I really want to bring this attention about this, like, more and more. And obviously more people are doing, bigger channels are talking about it as well. But as somebody who like collects these things or like tries to find people collect them, dude, it gets to a point where it's like, yeah, I want to support small shops and stuff, and eBay sell it, try to buy it as best as you can. But some of these prices are way too damn out of control. I get it, collector's edition, there was only 1,000 made in the world. Okay, I might not be going after that, but if I just want a regular ass Ocarina of Time game, $50. At conventions, you might get it for a little bit cheaper, but then again, those are such specialty collector areas. You're gonna get some of the craziest things you've never even heard of or seen in person, and they're not cheap. And I'm not saying for them to lower the prices, but a lot of these things most people really can't afford. Do you want to spend $130 on an N64 game cartridge, or do you want to put that towards groceries? Or do you want to save that for gas or something? It's starting to be more of I mean, it's always been a luxury, but it's definitely a bigger luxury, just to kind of dip into some other stuff too. It's like comics. Yeah, I'm super into Transformers. Like, I am crazy about it. I don't really talk about it, but if you look at my other stuff, I'm really into it. Dude, some of those vintage comics, like out of print stuff, like $200 for a single comic issue. Just a random one, doesn't matter. Some of them are about $20, but you paid like $3 for it back then. It's the same thing for a lot of these physical games now, where it's like, okay, I paid $30 here, but now it's like $300. It's like, I know inflation is bad, but like, this is kind of absurd. But then that starts getting to the vintage areas, And then physical media copies now. Oh my god, what was that game? Hold on. We're gonna pause. Okay, so we all know how to do a quick pause, how to double check. Because I was like, maybe I'm crazy. I don't remember it being that expensive. Mario Kart World, physical and or digital copy. $79, bro. Like, I'm sorry I got loud, but it's like, what? And if you go on eBay, you know what the price is? $70. There's somebody selling it for $75.99, and the tax, the to ship it is like another $6. It's like, what? And the cheapest I'm seeing it, okay? And this is what's the crazy part. It is a 9.8 scale on like perfect sealed, like you don't open this is 10, like, oh my goodness. The starting bid is $48. And it's like, okay, that's not a bad price, but that is the starting bid. Like, bro. And like, there's some people who are selling it for a lot cheaper. I've seen somebody that is like selling it for $20, but then there's like a $7 shipping. It's like, okay, that's a reasonable price. But like, that's just, one of the newer examples on the newest consoles. It's just like, bro, video games are so expensive. It's just like, I don't buy anything unless it's digital. And that's the problem. Because it's digital, now it's circling back to this situation with Sony and their DRM situation. If people start seeing more of this and companies are like, well, we can start doing this more, like if they already haven't been, it's gonna get to a point where it's like nothing we buy we own. And that's already been an issue with like music and stuff. But I just wanted to talk about it. I just was like, I have to sit down. I don't care. This is so important to me and it's terrifying. And yeah, hopefully we figure something out with this because dude, it's getting scary out there being a gamer and a game developer and game collector and stuff. It's just like, oh my god, the one thing that people would take as a distraction has become such a money pool at this point for so many companies. Like, it's understandable, especially after the pandemic, but we are never getting, knock on wood, we in this lifetime, at least not for another 50, 80, the 100 years, we're not going to see a price increase or a demand of digital physical goods like we did at that point. And I'm so sick and tired of companies trying to mimic those sales. Is never going to happen again. And doing things like this to try to keep players and people coming back and being like, "Oh, look at this sale," and everything else keeps them logging in. It's such a terrible feedback loop, and I'm telling you, please, if you see anything that you want physical media, if you can afford it, go get it. go bid on it, go save money for it, do something for it because you don't know if you're ever going to see that again. And that is such a shame. But that is actually something I want to talk about in another video that I want to do. And it does tie in with Transformers with the recent announcements and stuff, and where that digital situation is a good thing. But for now, for what Sony's doing and all this other crap, not the best thing. So this video is a little bit longer than I intended, but it's supposed to be a long form content video. I do want to do more stuff like this right now. It wasn't really scripted. I just sat down and I was like, okay, we're just going over things, talking about it as it comes up. But hopefully, this doesn't roll out. And if it does roll out, it's like, can you make it like a once a year thing, dude? Because there's some people that I know, hell, myself included. Sometimes I don't turn on my video games, so I'm just like, I'm on. No, we're things are happening. I'm just not gonna do this. Like, it sucks. So hopefully they do fix on this, or they don't make it as such a short duration. But we'll see what happens. All right, everybody. I'll see you later. Have a good one.